Hello everyone, so I've decided that I'm going to make a tutorial on how to make an avatar for Beat Saber. I picked up Blender and Unity about 6 days ago, so I literally just kind of learned how to do it, and there's been a lot of reading and a lot of video watching, and a lot of the guides out there are outdated, so I thought I would make one that works. Now, since I just learned how to do this, bear with me. I might get stuck here and there, but I have already managed to make a couple of avatars for Beat Saber with even animated hair and things like that. So I think that's this guide will probably help someone that needs it. I will not be doing dynamic bones or basically animated anything today. I will just be doing the basics on how to grab a PMX file and export it for use in Beat Saber. So the first thing you're going to need is you're gonna have to go to blender.org and you're gonna download Blender and install it. Then you're gonna go to Assistance Guide to Full Body Tracking, and I will put the links in the description, and you will scroll down the page and you will download this right here, Avatar Unity Project. This will give you a file like this one, Unity Project. You're going to extract it, and this is going to have a folder inside called Avatars Unity Project. This folder has everything you need to make an avatar for Beat Saber. You do not have to import anything else into Unity. Everything is here. So copy this folder somewhere, preferably where you're going to have the files that you're going to be working on. In my case, I've got avatar creation tutorial right here, and I've got avatars Unity project. This is my model and the CATS Blender. But moving on, the next thing you're going to need is a CATS Blender plugin. In order to get the CATS Blender plugin for Blender, you're gonna go to Google, Blender CATS plugin, and it's basically the first page that comes up. You're going to scroll down and you're going to download CATS Blender right here. And the last thing, you're going to need a model or a PMX file. You can get these on DeviantArt, or you can go to the Beat Saber modding group on Discord, and under avatar requests, a lot of people have put them there, have put files there that you can use. And who knows, you might even end up making an avatar for someone that wants it. Now, once you have all that and you have downloaded Unity, which I forgot to mention, you download on this page as well, make sure you get this version specifically. Any newer version will not work properly for Beat Saber. So download Unity, download the Avatar Unity project, and download the CATS Blender plugin. Once you have all that and you have installed Blender and Unity, you will open Blender, click anywhere on the screen to get rid of that, and then press A twice, press delete, and press enter to get rid of the scene. Now, I already have CATS installed, but to install it, you're gonna go to File, User Preferences, and this page will open. Install add-on from File and go to wherever your CATS Blender got downloaded. In my case, it's in Downloads. It's right here. Just double click it and it will install it. Once it's installed, it'll be listed here. Make sure you check it to enable it, and then save user settings, and that's it. So once you have that, you're going to go into the CATS tab and you're going to click Import Model, and you're going to go to wherever you save the model that you downloaded. In this case, it's Classy Brown. In my case, classybrown.pmx. Okay, so here is a model, right? Now, the first thing you need to do is we need to put some textures on it. So you're going to click Fix Model and let Blender do its thing. Once that's done, as you can see, you've got some textures. You can expand the armature, you can actually hide the body to leave the armature, which is the skeleton, or you can hide the skeleton to see the model itself. Now, next step. The next thing you need to do is create a closed fist. so that way you're holding the sabers in game. You can do this in Unity, but personally I prefer to do it in Blender. So we'll click on Start Pose Mode, like this, and you're going to zoom into the hands, and you're going to right click on the finger bones and shape them. Now you have three tools on here. You have a tool to move, which is this one. You can move something. By the way, you can press Ctrl Z to undo. You have a tool for resizing, which is this one. And the tool for rotation is the middle one, this one. So you click the bone and then you rotate it. If at any point you do something you shouldn't do, just press Ctrl Z and drag it. So, you know, just basically you rotate this and you try to make a fist, you know, as nicely as you can. Just make a fist like so. You know, you might have to move the camera around, make sure everything's even. I mean, I'm not even gonna do both hands right now because, you know, this takes time, but I'll just make the first one. So even though it won't be perfect. So just make a fist like so. Make sure you do each bone individually like this. Now to do the little bone, I'm gonna have to go on the back. Whoopsie. It's a little weird sometimes, to be honest. Yeah, that's not gonna work from that angle. So I'm just gonna have to do it a little blindly over here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you know, I guess I just put it like this. It doesn't really have to be perfect, just to show you how it's done. So you go here, make the fist like so. Bone by bone. You have to do both hands. All right, there you go. And last but not least, I'm gonna do this one. And this all represent an axis, so you have to figure out in which direction you need to rotate. There we go, just a quick fist. So once you do that, and you do both hands, let me see, yeah, kind of like a fist, you're going to click Pose to Shape Key, and name it something you remember, like closed, closed fists. All right, that's done. Once that's done, you're gonna press W, clear user transforms, and once again, you do both hands. I only did one to save time, but do both hands, and then save it. And once you clear, and then press W, clear user transforms, and once you do that, just stop pose mode. That's it. Now, next, expand model options, and on the translate, put all. Some of these models have the names of their parts in Japanese or some other language, so this will actually help you identify them when you're in Unity. All right. Once you do that, it's time for decimation. Now, here's the thing. The model needs to be 70,000 tris maximum. Up here, it will tell you how many it is. This model is fine. It's only 26,000. But sometimes you will find a model that's like ridiculous, like 180,000 or something like that. So first, you try to do a quick decimation. Click on Save, Save Fingers, and Quick Decimation. In my case, it will tell me that the model does not need to be decimated because it's already the right amount of tris. But if sometimes it will tell you that it cannot be decimated with the current settings. So when that happens, what you do is you click on Custom, Separate by Materials, and once it's done, it'll tell you up here. You're gonna go to each material. For example, let's see the hair, the eyes, the blouse, etc. So you will go to each material. You will click on the wrench icon after you select it. You can also select it on the list if you're not sure if you're selecting the right one. And you click on the wrench icon, and you're gonna click Add Modifier, and then Decimate right here. Now this one has 8,612 tris. You know, 8,000, 10,000, you know, that's actually all right. but for example, I had an avatar a couple days ago that the hair alone was 170,000 tris, which is absolutely ridiculous. Even 15,000 and the hair would still look the same. So when that does happen, you calculate approximate how many tris you want to keep. And let's say, for example, 15,000 is 20% of whatever amount model. So if you want to keep 20% of the tris, you will change this here to 0.20 for 20%. And you're going to press enter. And then you press apply. Most likely, it will give you this error. Modifier cannot be applied to a mesh with shape keys. And that's okay. You see the hair is selected right here. Just find whatever you're trying to modify on the list, select it, expand it, then expand classy brown. And you see this key right here, delete that. Right click and delete. Once you delete it, you'll be able to press apply. Once you're done with that, once you're done decimating each individual part that's too large, you're going to go on the left and click join meshes. And once they are joined, you're going to go back to save. Make sure save fingers is selected and click quick decimation and it will be finished. Once that is completely done, somebody told me that this step wasn't necessary, but I do it anyway because so just parent all the bones. Feel free to experiment without it. Just parent all the bones one by one. Just go to bone parenting refresh list and then parent every bone one by one until you're done. Once again, you're free to experiment without that. But once that is done, you're finished. Click on export model. Continue to export and go to wherever you have your avatar files. I recommend you save this in the same folder as your original PMX file, kind of like basically as a backup. And by the way, don't mind that I deleted that because I made a mistake earlier. So once you export, I also recommend you save the Blender file, just in case. Save the Blender file, and once that is done, you have finished with Blender for now. So now we're going to open Unity, and we're going to go to Avatars Unity project, that folder that you downloaded earlier, and you're going to open it. Just select the folder and put select folder, and Unity will load everything. And once again, that folder has everything you need for Beat Saber. You do not need anything else. So here's Unity, okay? Here's everything and a bunch of assets and stuff. So the first thing you're going to do is right click, create, and folder. Let's name that the name of the avatar. By the way, you can have multiple folders for multiple avatars, and you can open whichever you want anytime. Once you create that folder, go inside and create another folder and name that materials. Once that is done, we're going to export the avatar. Import. So right click, import new asset, and just navigate to where your avatar files are. Classy brown. And this is the file that we just got from Blender, that FBX. So let's import that. All right. As you can see, your avatar has no textures whatsoever. So what we're going to do now, we're going to click on the avatar. You go to rig, change it to humanoid, and then go to materials. And instead of use embedded materials, switch to use external materials legacy, and then click apply. You still have no textures. However, this is all set. So now we're going to get the materials that we need. So you're going to open your Windows Explorer, and you're gonna go to where your texture files are. I mean, to where your avatar files are. And there is a folder here that says text, TEX for textures. You're gonna copy all of that. Control A select, or you can drag it like this, doesn't matter. Just copy all of it. And then we're gonna go to Avatar's Unity project. You go to Assets, and now you have a folder here, which we just created, with the name of your avatar. You open this, open Materials, and copy those textures in there. As soon as you close this window, Unity will import everything. Just give it a little while. Okay, you still have no textures. So how do you fix that? Before that part, you're gonna right click on this part right here, and you're gonna put create empty. And we're gonna rename this to your character. This is going to be the root, classy brown. And now you're gonna grab your character and drag it on top of that, like so. All right, as you can see, oh, by the way, you can right click to rotate, middle mouse button to drag. You can also use these buttons right here to change the view. Whoops, that's too fast. All right, so no textures, but that's okay. So you're going to expand your character here and click on body. First, you're gonna change your shaders to Beat Saber shaders. I personally recommend on lit glow. And don't worry, the avatar will look weird when you do this, but we'll fix that in a moment. On lit glow. Let's just change all of them first. And now, once you change the shaders to Beat Saber, now we're gonna expand with this little arrow right here, and we're gonna find the textures that belong here. So we're gonna open Materials. All your textures are right here now, the ones that you imported. We're gonna click on Body again, and this is 2. So just find the one that matches it. In this case, it's this one. Ignore these. These are the default ones made by Beat Saber and whatever. This is the texture. But once you fill it in, then these ones are gonna get corrected. So there you go. That's one. Let's just go down the list and take care of it. Body 00 Miku. It's right here. Just drag the texture over. M. It's this one. And as you can see, the avatar is starting to take shape. Texture. Oh, this one right here. There we go. N. There we go. Chris gown. Just drag it all over. Chris shirt. There we go. Okay, just one by one. I mean, it takes time. I won't be getting into any fancy physics today, just pretty much the basics. But this should be enough to get you to export an avatar and use it on Beat Saber reliably. TDA Galaxy Eye purple. I think that's this one. There we go. And Face Miku APB. Face Miku APB. What is it? Here we go. And look at that. Just like that, the avatar now looks the way it's supposed to look. Take a moment, save your project. You don't want to have to redo this. Avatar creation, Avatar's Unity project, assets, classy brown. Make sure you save it here. This will create in your main folder this Unity project. So when you do make more avatars and you have a whole bunch of folders here, you can just open your avatars folder, double click on this. Excuse me. Double click on this and it will load that project specifically. So now that that is done, very important, we need to scale the avatar so that it works properly in Beat Saber. This is very important. If you don't do this right, you might have, weird things like floating sabers and things like that. So you're gonna go back into the assets folder. Something I forgot. Make sure that the position is at 0. Always 0, 0, 0, and the 0, 0, 0. They both avatar names need to be at 0 on the position. Once you do that, go to Assets and open Template Full Body and drag this purple guy into the window. Now the purple guy is selected. You will change the position to 0, all of them, so that way he's right where your character is. However, in order to scale this, you need to see your character a little better. I mean, this thing is like blocking you. So what you can do here is you can change the C axis to move it back just a bit. So the scaling will work the same, but you just be able to see what you're doing better. Now, positive moves it forward, and negative numbers, positive numbers move it forward, negative numbers move it backwards. Of course, we don't need to put it that far. So let's try 0.05. Whoops, sorry. Negative 0.05. How about 0.06, 0.07, 0.08, and let's do 6. All right, 6. All right. Something to keep in mind. Number one, first of all, whoops, sorry, I moved the wrong thing. I'm gonna pick the character. I'm gonna move it to about the center because when you resize it, it grows evenly. And you're gonna switch to the resize tool, scale tool right here, and you're going to drag this right here until you think it's about the right size. Switch back to the move tool, move it around a bit. Let me see. Okay, that's about right. That's acceptable. But now, something really important to note here. You have to try to make the avatar match the template as closely as possible. This right here are the hips. Let me make the avatar thinner so yeah, that you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, this right here is the hip indicator. These are the hips right here. But my hips are up here. Basically, this means that my avatar's legs are way too long. So I'm gonna move this down, use the move tool to move it down, and I'm going to match approximately the hip height, like so. See, kind of like that. There we go. Now when I look down here, all of this needs to go away. So how do we do that? We open Blender. You don't need to close Unity, by the way. You open Blender, click, select all, delete, go to Cats tab, import model, and you will go to where your Unity files are. Avatar creation tutorial, Unity project, not where your original model is, but where your Unity files are. Unity project, assets, classy brown, and you're gonna open this file right here. Now, there we go. So I'm gonna go into pose mode right here. Expand armature, and I'm going to hide the body so that I can see the skeleton better. Okay, I'm gonna switch to the resize tool. And now, very important, you will go down here, since you're resizing your legs, you will go down here and you will select your foot bone, right click, left ankle in this, there is called left ankle in this case, not the one in front, but the one attached to the leg, which is what you're resizing. So right click to select it, go to the bone icon right here on the right, and uncheck inherit scale. Do the same thing for the other side. go to the bone icon, right click, bone icon, inherit scale. If you do not do this, your feet will get all messed up when you resize, okay? Now, once that's done, you're going to kind of like this, and you right click. Personally, I like to resize both leg bones evenly. So you're gonna right click on this one, and then you're gonna hold shift and right click on the other one so that you can select both. This will ensure that you resize both evenly, because you don't want to end up with a longer right or left leg. You're gonna click on this little square. Sometimes the square is green, I don't know why it's blue, but whatever. You're gonna click on this, hold and press the up or down arrows, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also drag the mouse to resize, but I personally like the arrow method because it allows me to count and kind of like, get an estimate of how much I need to resize if I don't get it right the first time. So that's done. Actually, let's do a couple more. Let's do... Actually, you know what? That's good. I'm not going to resize it perfectly this time. I'm just showing you what to do. So there we go. Now let's do the lower leg. Click. Whoopsie, I made it bigger. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Once that is done, you have to click apply as rest pose to save it. But now we have a problem. You see how your character is floating up? This is the floor. This is your character because you made the legs shorter. We need to fix that. If you don't, you are actually going to be floating like this in the game. So how do we fix that? We're going to go into pose mode again. I'm going to select the body. I'm going to press tab. Oh, sorry. No, not pose mode. Don't go into pose mode. Don't do it. Let's start over. You're going to select the body right here. You're going to press tab. You're going to go into edit mode. Wait, why isn't it letting me do it? That's weird. Hold on. Oh, it's because I was hiding the body. Okay. So go into pose mode. I guess you do go into pose mode. Select the body over here on the left and go into edit mode. We need to fix the height issue. Okay? Press 5 on your number pad, not on your key, not on the left, on the right. Your number pad on the right. Press 5 to go into 2D view, and then press 3 to go sideways. Now you need to find a low point. Whoopsie, sorry. Hold shift. You gotta hold shift and drag and press middle mouse button to move around the scene. If you press middle mouse button, you can move like this, and if you hold shift, you can then drag. I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier. I'm sorry if I did not. But let's go back to the side view. Let's zoom in. We need to find a low point on this character, and I think a low point is right here. So you're gonna right click right there. There we go. You're gonna make sure you are in move tool. Okay, so you're gonna right click to select right there, and then you're gonna press space and type cursor and choose snap cursor to selected right here. Okay, now you're gonna open this here. You see this little plus button? Gonna open right here, and you're gonna go down to 3D cursor, and you're gonna change X and Y to 0. 0 and 0. What this will do, it will move the cursor to the center. Now, press 5 on your number pad to go back to 3D view. And as you can see, the cursor is right in the middle now. Now, select your body. Well, your body is already selected. Press Tab to go into object mode. Press space and type origin. And click Set Origin. And then origin to 3D cursor. Right here. Just like that. Now, here on the right, under transform right here, you will copy C. Make sure you copy it before you delete it. Copy C and then change this to 0. Press enter and your body moves down to the floor again. Now, why do you need to press C? You see, if you look closely, you're going to see that the body moved down, but the skeleton stayed up there. Look, you see that? So we're going to fix that by selecting the armature. We're going to select the armature. We're going to go back into edit mode. I'm going to press A to select all. Then I'm going to press G. G allows you to move whatever you have selected. And I'm going to press Z to lock it to up and down. I don't want to accidentally move this to the sides. So remember, select the armature, go into edit mode, press A to select all until it turns orange like that. Press G and then press Z. And once you do that, then you can move the armature, but it will only move up and down, so it won't go off center. So once you move it a little bit like this, you can click to leave it in place, and this little window will show up that says vector. So what we're going to do now is copy that number that we copied. Remember the C value that we copied on the body? You're going to paste it here and press enter. However, you notice something. It went up instead of lower down. That's because we need to change this number to a negative. So the go from top to bottom is positive, but to go from correction. Yeah, for the body to move from the top down to the floor, it's positive, but to move up, you gotta make it negative. So okay, you know what? I'm saying that backwards, but the point is that you have to change this to negative. Press enter, and boom, the armature is now in the right place. And that's it. You're done with this. Look at that. So we're going to export model. Ignore this warning. Continue to export and go to your file. And overwrite. Close this. And Unity should update itself. There you go. You see that? She went down because her legs got shorter. So look at that. It's almost there. So basically you need to keep resizing this until you get it right and the hips align. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to show you basically how it's done. So after you finish the legs, you have to, once you're done with the legs and the height is correct and the hips are aligned, you will click on the character here. You're going to go resize and make her wider. You know, try to match the thing, but not too much. You know, you can make it thinner if you want. But keep in mind that this affects the arms as well, which is a good thing. So let's make it a little wider, for example. Just like that. And then press play mode. Once you're happy with the height and the width, then you press play mode. Click on scene. And then on the left, let's expand the body until we get to the shoulders. So left shoulder, click on the rotate tool right here. And let's rotate this to match the avatar's arms. Just like that. And then the right shoulder, let's rotate it. Now, the reason why you do the legs first and then the width is because both those things will affect the length of the arms. If you do the arms first, you're going to end up with really long arms, and then you're going to have to shorten them after you do this part. So it's important to do this part first. So as we can see, they don't match up. The hands do not matter. All that matters is the wrist. The wrist needs to match up with the avatar. So basically, what we do now, we go into Blender. We're going to reopen that file. We're going to import that file in again. Going to import that file again. And this time, we don't need to do any fancy repositioning. The arms are actually quite easy to do. So we're going to start pose mode. We're going to hide the body. We're going to go to the resize tool here. And then we're going to find the wrist bone, this one, the one that's connected to the arm. See, this is the bone connected to the part that you are resizing. So this is the one we need. You're going to go to the bone icon and disable inherit scale, or your hands will get all messed up. Bone icon, disable inherit scale. Once that is done, you can select, right click on one arm, hold shift, click on the other, and we can make this bigger in the same way, just like that. And then right click here, hold shift, right click, and like that. Once you're done, apply as rest pose to save and export the file. Once again, overwrite your file. And once that is done, close Blender. You see the arms got a little bigger. Nonetheless, before you resize, again, get out of play, because play mode doesn't update, it's not accurate when it updates. So we're going to move like that, and then we're going to go back into play. And as you can see here, like I didn't really resize it that much, but it did move a little bit closer. So you have to keep doing this until the wrists match the template, okay? Once you're done moving your character around and you have mashed it up and everything, and all the sizing is correct and everything is good, you're going to click on the full body template on the left. You're going to delete it. By the way, don't do any changes here in play mode. Nothing that you do in play mode gets saved. Nothing at all. You can resize because that's in Blender, not Unity, but any changes like changing these numbers or any settings in Unity that you do in play mode do not get saved. So get out of play mode and delete the full body template after you no longer need it. Go to your root, make sure the positioning is 0. Go to your character, make sure it's 0. Remember, you had to move it up and down a bit, so we need to reset this to 0 again to place it where it belongs. And then this on the scale, if you pay close attention, she's kind of skinny because I stretched her to the sides, but she's like, you see that? Because I stretched her sideways. So what you do here is you can actually copy the X value into the Z value, and that'll give her, a fairly good measurement. That's a little bit better. Now, once that is done, something I forgot to mention is you have to click, you expand your character, you have to click on body. Do you remember those, the closed fists that we created before? I kind of forgot to mention it, but you do need to apply it to the character. So how you do that is you expand your character, you click on the body, and then here where it says, where it says blend shapes, you expand this and you will find those closed fists that you created. Here they are. It highlights in blue if you have selected the right one, and I'm going to put 100. And boom, there is a closed fist. If you had done both hands will be closed. But now that that is done, we need to start adding the targets for the hands and the sabers. So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to right click on your root and create an empty. Let's do that 4 times. 4 empties. Then let's rename them. The first one is going to be head. The second is going to be body. The third is going to be left hand. And the fourth is going to be right hand. Now that that is done, you're going to grab your character and drag it over the root again. So it ends up like this. These things under this and then this. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to place these things. First, switch, make sure you're in the move tool here. And I'm going to click on the head. And you see the head is here. We're going to move that up. This is basically, the head will be basically where your VR headset is on your face. So kind of like there. You can mess with it, but I found that this is actually quite good around this area right here. But that's not all. You have to move to the side view right here. Make sure you're looking at it perfectly sideways. And we're gonna move this. Don't put it in here. Put it kind of like, you know, just like a slight distance in front of the face, basically. This will actually, sorry. This will actually, if you put it here, then when you use the avatar in first person view, you're gonna see the inside of your head. So you need to put it somewhere kind of like here. So that way you can use the avatar in first person view and, you know, it looks decent. And that's it. That's it for the head. You're done. Now, the body, you leave it where it is. Do not touch the body. It's fine where it is. Now we're going to do the left hand. So if you created the fist, first move it up. But when you created the fists, we're going to move it here. Just zoom in as closely as you can because we need this to be accurate. And try and place it in the center of your closed fist, because this is where your sabers will go. Rotate it to the sides as well. Let's move this kind of like there. There we go. Let's see. All right, that looks good. Now we need to rotate this at an angle, which is basically the angle in which you're going to hold the headset, the sabers. So we're going to switch to the rotate tool, and we're going to move it this way. Try to have a point at the arms, kind of like here. Some people say to do it at the wrists, but in my testing, it's made the hands kind of weird in the game. I mean, this is the most accurate one I've seen that I have tried. So if you get out of that, the arrow should be pointing right about there. All right, so now you need to do the right hand, but there is actually a little trick here in which you can right click up here where it says transform. You can copy the component, and then you can click on your right hand and you can paste the component values. See, this is your right hand, but now you go into the X position, and instead of a negative, make it positive. So just delete the negative sign and it'll move to the other side, just like that. And for the rotation, same thing. Delete the negative and just make it positive. And look at that, you're done with the right hand. And that is it. Now the next part, you have to create some targets. So expand your character, armature, hips, etc. Go to your left shoulder, left arm. Just expand everything. And once you get to the wrist, right click and create an empty. Drag this on top of your left hand up here and rename it to left hand target. Okay, we're gonna do the same for the head. Right here, create an empty on top of the head, drag it to the head on top, up here, and name it head target. And finally, for the right hand, same thing, expand right shoulder, right arm, right elbow, and on wrist, create empty, and drag it up on top of the right hand. Make sure you don't do this. Let me show you. Don't do this and put it on the right hand, under the left hand. Make sure you drag it, because see, these two are unrelated. Make sure you drag this on top of it so that when you minimize this, see, it's part of it. Okay, right hand, let's name that right hand target. And that is it. Pretty much, I believe that's everything there is. Now what we need to do is just make sure to double check everything. Positioning is good. That is good. You can try and place the avatar again and test it and make sure it's the right size, which mine isn't. Like I said, I'm not actually doing this. I'm not gonna do it, do it the right size because it's very time consuming. But the way I explained it, make sure you resize it properly so that it matches the avatar as closely as possible. Especially the arms. The arms are very important. If your arms are too short, your sabers are gonna be floating a few inches away from your hands in the game, and that does not look good. So yeah, make sure you get the sizing right. I don't think I've missed anything. I will make another video on how to do dynamic bones and do like fancy hair and things like that. Just to give you a super quick of what fancy hair is. You can actually just real fast. But I can actually, for example, you can click here and you can click add component and dynamic bones, just like this. And you can actually see, whoopsie, that's the wrong thing to do. And you can actually see things. Oh, never mind. Anyway, you do have to change a bunch of settings, so it's just like it's a little bit weird if I put, like I said, it's just a quick overview. But if you go here, you can see the hair move. But right now everything's moving and going through everything, and that's because with dynamic bones, it's basically a tutorial of its own, because you have to exclude certain parts, like the eyes. You see how the eyes move? You have to exclude certain parts, and you have to add collision so it doesn't go through your clothes and things like that. But we're not gonna get into that today. So let's get rid of this script. And so anyway, after you're done placing your targets and doing everything else, and you're ready, then you're gonna click on your character and you're gonna click add component on the right. You're gonna type IK and pick IK Manager Advanced. This thing has a bunch of settings, which you probably won't be using them now. I know I don't use them yet, but someday you will, and it's very useful for fixing issues sometimes. So once you open IK Manager Advanced, you're also gonna add VRIK. Now, under IK Manager Advanced, you have 3 fields: head target, left hand target, and right hand target. You remember that? So we're gonna grab the head target and put it over here. Left hand target, we're gonna put it over here. And right hand target, we're going to put it here. Once that is done, your avatar is pretty much finished. If you go into play mode right here and you go into scene, you can actually click on the head and you can move it and see how it will move in VR. By the way, the hands don't move because the hand targets are right here, so that's okay. Don't worry about that, it's not gonna look like that in the game. But you see, there it is. It's just the hands are tied to that specific spot in Unity. So, but as you can see, here it is. That's basically how the avatar will look in VR. Yay, we're done. But not really. There's one more thing you need to do. Go to your root, not your character, your root. Click Add Component and type Avatar or AVA, Avatar Descriptor. Add that. And this is where you give a name to your avatar. Classy Brown. And the author. This is the name that the information that shows up in Beat Saber. Once that is done, save your project and then click on Avatar Exporter right here. Export Classy Brown. And once you export it, just literally just go to your Beat Saber folder and put it there. And then get in the game and try it. Here you go. Beat Saber, blah, blah, blah. Custom, blah, blah, blah. Steam apps, etc. And that's it. That's pretty much all there is to it. Well, yeah, that's done. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope that this helped you. This is my very first tutorial ever, and it was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. I hope I didn't miss anything. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I will gladly answer and try and help as best as I can. And keep an eye out for that dynamic modes on how to do the animated hair and all that fancy stuff video. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.